Oh, Chris here from Awake by Design. I'm just doing a quick review, essentially. A company's been kind enough to provide me with a webcam to do a test of. So I thought I would do that for you now. So I'm currently using my old webcam. So this is one that I've been using for streams and web conferencing and stuff like that throughout the whole lockdown time, and it's okay. I bought it quite a long time ago. Its specifications say it's a 1080p at 30 frames a second, which is kind of like standard. Although I do notice it is a bit jolty. I don't know if you can tell on the stream because I'm using a capture card, but it's definitely, there's a little bit of lag in it. It's not quite as sharp as I'd like it to be. And I do have to play around with the light settings quite a lot to get anything out of it. So I thought it was time for an upgrade. So I've been sent Amcrest. This is the AWC205 1080p webcam. So again, it's a 1080p full HD webcam. It comes with a little privacy cover that you can cover it over without having to use a bit of blue tack or a bit of card like some people do. It's got a built-in microphone, and it's touted as plug and play setup, so you should just plug it in and that's it. It doesn't have any additional setup requirements or anything like that. With Windows 10 it should just install its driver manually, automatically, and that's it. So I'm going to swap over to the camera now and we're going to see the kind of difference that we get. Cool. There we go. So straight away, obviously, the first thing that you notice is the field of view is a lot bigger than my last webcam. So I'm not sure what it was on my old one, but this one has a 70-degree field of view. So that's crazy. So that's kind of like bordering on like fisheye lens kind of territory. So as you can see, my kind of stream background, I know it's fallen down a bit anyway, but that used to cover the whole back of my webcam, so it was just a neutral kind of background, and that kind of zoomed in it fine. Now I find myself, it shows my whole room, so I'm going to have to make a couple of changes to get around that, but obviously I can cut down the video. You don't have to use all of this if you're using it for something like streaming, or if you're using it for web conferencing. A lot of them nowadays have the background blurrer, so it doesn't really matter. You can blur out the whole background and just have yourself in focus. Another thing I noticed straight away was the refresh rate. So it's a lot smoother, this webcam, when I move around. There's not as much motion, like not blur, but kind of laggy, trying to keep up with motion and stuff like that, which I did notice on the last one. This one seems a lot more fluid. So yeah, there's no problems there. And of course, the sensor that they use on it is much more sensitive to light, so it's just letting a lot more light in straight away. So like I've kind of tweaked both settings and stuff like that, so there are different brightness settings. So maybe if I just take this one back to kind of, so that's on 0. And that's on 0, so you can see between the two. I mean, there's not a huge difference because I'm well lit. But if, for example, I don't have my thing here. But if you start turning the lights down a bit, this one, don't really notice much of a difference. Obviously, I'm lit from the front, so you would notice that. But as you can see, it's a huge change on my old webcam. So the background is now very, very dark. It's just my face that's kind of in focus and lit, and that's about it. So if we switch back straight away, now you can kind of see everything that's going on in the room. So it does require a different level of lighting, obviously. But I find that is quite a sweet spot. So one thing that you're going to want to do, and that I noticed straight away, was it's obviously not always ideal to have this level of brightness. When you install the webcam, it is controlled by third-party software. So there's not like a piece of software that you would download with it that would control the functions of it. So you can use something like Skype or Streamlabs if you do streaming, or just for a basic one, I'm using the Windows 10 camera app here just to monitor it because it is the easiest way to do it. Or you could use something like VLC Player to kind of get into it and choose resolutions and stuff like that. But yeah, just using the little brightness section here, I find that if you just roll it off a little bit, maybe not even that much, maybe like -18 for me, it's personal taste. That's kind of a bit more natural, so it's not oversaturated quite as much. But yeah, I think that's been what I've been using more recently for streaming, for doing web chat and stuff like that, using Discord. And I have noticed that it's a step up in quality, that's for sure. For the price as well, it's not... I mean, I bought my old webcam quite a while ago, so it was a few years, but they were very similarly priced and spec'd. So having a webcam now that was, not too expensive, so it's not one of your high-end Logitechs that costs, £200 or so, which I couldn't afford. This one's in more of around the £50 bracket. So obviously you're not getting the crisp, clear lens that you would on a Logitech, obviously, but it is a lot further along that road than something else of the same kind of price bracket. So I think you do get very good value for money for it. And yeah, it was plug and play. I had a couple of issues using an older laptop, meaning that it struggled a lot, basically. Where it worked fine with my old webcam, with the new one, it wouldn't stream as well, basically. So we've had a couple of crashes and stuff like that. But I have put that down to it just being an old, not very good laptop, basically. So if you do have an older spec laptop, it might be worth considering an upgrade or a cheaper, more budget camera if you want to use it, because they don't seem to get on particularly well. Not that you have to have a latest state-of-the-art one. My current laptop that I'm using is from 2013, and it was a mid to high-range laptop back then, so it runs this absolutely fine. So you don't need the latest thing, but if it is an old low-range laptop, you may struggle, so it's worth bearing that in mind. I think that's pretty much everything. So just to go through the specifications, so a 1/3 inch CMOS imaging sensor. The resolution is 1920 by 1080, but it can go lower, so you can do 720 or 480 as well. It's a 3.6mm lens with an angle of view of 70 degrees, with a privacy cover. The aperture is f2.3. The focus distance is 4.9 feet to 16.4 feet. That's 1.5 meters to 5 meters. So that's quite important, I think. So you can still be like right up and close to it. So as you can see, it's not really struggling. I don't know if I can. Let's use its own box maybe, so you can get nice up and close to it. Let's see if it susses that out. It's probably focusing on my face a little bit. Oh, there it goes. Or we'll get like a little plectrum maybe. So if we come out a tiny bit, so you're looking about here, it's kind of really starting to take focus of it, and then as you can see, even on the back wall, you're getting that in it as well. So you really do get a big area that you can use, that's usable, that's focusable. Obviously towards the side sometimes you may, as you can kind of see, can you see it here? No, it's on this side. As you get out to the kind of the edges, you do get the issue with the lens obviously being a slightly different aperture, but it's not too much of a problem, especially if the focus point is the middle and you just want to get a large field of view. I think this webcam is ideal, so especially if you're trying to get like a whole room view or something like that, that's absolutely perfect. It's a USB 2, so it doesn't have to be USB 3, so it's not using any ridiculous amounts of power, so it's not powered or anything like that. Built-in high sensitivity microphone. So I haven't done much testing with that. I've done a bit and it sounds okay. It sounds better than a lot of inbuilt microphones, I would say, so it's quite clear. I would probably say not clear enough to use for streaming or anything like that, but definitely if you're just having a Zoom call or something like that, it will be more than enough, and it will do much better than, say, a built-in microphone in a laptop or something. It's going to be 10 times better than that. Obviously not quite up to the standard of a condenser microphone or something like that, but then you wouldn't expect it to be at all. Even the £200 ones are going to have pretty much the same microphone in it as this one. So they're going to do you for video conferencing, but not for anything beyond that, really. And that's what you expect. So that's absolutely fine. And compatible with Windows XP and up. It is Mac compatible as well. And yeah, it's quite small, so it's not massive. I might be able to show you if I swap back to my old webcam. So you got this one just here. So yeah, it's not the smallest webcam in the world, but it's quite chunky. It's quite nice, to have something substantial sitting on top of your screen rather than the tiny little thing. But it's not big enough to get in the way or anything like that. And it does have a tripod mount as well, which is invaluable, as my old one doesn't. And as you can see, I moved it, and my old one just basically fell off the screen. So I let go of it, and it's up there, and I spend most of my time jiggling it around to get it to work, whereas I've just chucked that one down straight away. It's a little bit lowerly focused, but straight away sits really well. I've got a curved monitor, and it sits really well on top of that, which is a bonus that I didn't think about when purchasing webcams, but this one seems to do it really well. It's got a really sturdy clip at the back as well, and it's got very handy little kind of activity lights on the front, so when you are using it, they kind of glow up, so you know that it's in use, basically. Excellent. And it's got a 1.8 meter cable that comes with it, so it's better than the meter that you get with a lot of them. So that really helps as well, so you don't have to have it right next to your laptop. Mine's quite a distance away from it because I have it over to one side. But yeah, it's what you would expect it to be. It's just it's nearly a 2 meter cable, so that's fantastic. All in all, I think it's a good product, especially for the cost it is. So it's not high end, but it's not priced high end. It's definitely a challenger for that mid-range market. So it's definitely up there, and I would definitely recommend you get it. The best place is probably on Amazon, to be honest. Yeah, so go and check it out. The Amcrest AWC205 1080p HD webcam. Fantastic. Thanks a lot.